Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
श्री चैतन्य चरितामृत की जय। श्रील कृष्णदास कविराज गोस्वामी की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। सामवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। नमो ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome to Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita reading. We are reading Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, chapter 14, the childhood pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We were reading about Sachimata's answers to Nimai's arguments about the sweetmeats and dirt both being transformations of earth. What is the problem if he ate dirt? So anyway, Sachimata defeats Nimai and Nimai is happy and he says, why didn't you tell me this philosophy before? And then he drank the breast milk of Sachimata. Yes, after saying this, the Lord, smiling slightly, climbed on the lap of his mother and sucked her breast. Thus, under various excuses, the Lord exhibited his opulences as much as possible in his childhood, and later, after exhibiting such opulences, he hid himself. Yeah, we also read other pastimes. On one occasion, the Lord ate the food of a Brahmana guest 3 times, and later, in confidence, the Lord delivered that Brahmana from material engagement. Then, in his childhood, the Lord was taken away by 2 thieves outside his home. The Lord, however, got up on the shoulders of the thieves, and while they were thinking they were safely carrying the child to rob his ornaments, the Lord misled them, and thus, instead of going to their own home, the thieves came back to the home of Jagannath Mishra. Yes, also we read, pretending to be sick, the Lord asked some food from the house of Hiranya and Jagadish on the Ekadasi day. So we'll begin with text 40. Isha. Shishu sabaloye padasira ghare churi kori dravya khaye mare balakere.
As usual, for small children, he learned to play, and with his playmates, he went to the houses of neighboring friends, stealing their eatables and eating them. Sometimes the children fought among themselves.
So Nimai is a little older than what he was before. Yes? He had just started to walk before. Now he's even going to others' homes. As usual for small children, he learned to play, and with his playmates, he went to the houses of neighboring friends, stealing their eatables and eating them. Sometimes the children fought among themselves. Shishu Sabha Sachi Sthane Koila Nivedana Shuni Sachi Putre Kichu Dila Olahana. Krishna Shish.
All the children lodged complaints with Sachimata about the Lord's fighting with them and stealing from the neighbors' houses. Therefore, sometimes she used to chastise or rebuke her herself.
So they would all go and they would steal and they would eat, and then when they had some fight amongst themselves, they would go and complain to Sachimata. The boys would complain to Sachimata that Nimai is stealing from the neighbors' homes, and that he's fighting with them. Then Sachimata would even chastise Nimai. Kene churi koro kene mara ho shishure kene poro ghare jaha kiba nahi ghare. Yeah, Madhava.
It's understood. Why do you steal others' things? Why do you beat the other children? And why do you go inside others' houses? What do you not have in your own house?
Similar to Yashoda Mai, right? Why do you steal others' things? Why do you even go to others' homes? Why are you stealing others' things? What is not there in your own home that you have to go and steal from others' homes? And why are you beating other children like this? Rasapriya.
According to the Vedanta Sutra, Janmadhyasya Yatha, since creation, maintenance, and annihilation exist in the Supreme Absolute, whatever we find within this material world is already in the spiritual world. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna himself. How he is stealing and
How is he stealing?
How is he stealing and how is he fighting? It is not as a thief or an enemy, but as a friend in a loving condition. He steals as a child, not because he is in want, but out of a natural instinct. In this material world also, small children, without enmity or bad will, sometimes go to a neighboring house and steal, and sometimes they fight. Krishna also, like other children, did all these things in his childhood. Without the existence of the stealing propensity and fighting propensity in the spiritual world, they cannot exist here in this material world. The difference between the material and spiritual worlds is that stealing in the spiritual world is done in principle and love, whereas fighting and stealing within this material world are executed on the basis of enmity and envy. Therefore, we should understand that in the spiritual world, all these activities exist, but there is no inner purity. Whereas in the material world, all activities are full of miserable conditions.
Yeah. So Sachimata is questioning, why do you steal? So Srila Prabhupada is explaining that everything is coming from the Lord. Janmadhyasya yataha. That means I am the cause of all creation. That means whatever we see in this entire creation, it is coming from him only. So even this propensity to fight with others and stealing from others, it's not something outside of him. It is there in him. So, but the difference is when there is stealing and fighting here, it has inebrities. It is done out of enmity here. Whereas when the Lord steals, it is not done out of enmity, rather it is done out of love and friendship. Srila Prabhupada is saying he has a natural instinct. That's why he goes to steal. And Srila Prabhupada is even saying, even in this world, we will see small children, they sometimes go to others' homes and they just steal and they even fight. But they don't have any malice or any enmity. So that propensity is there. So the point is, everything is there in the Lord, but there is no inebriety in him. Whereas in this material world, there is inebrities. That's the difference. So next, Kalpesh Prabhu. शुनि क्रुद्धः या प्रभु घर भीतर जाया घरे जता भांडा छिलो फेलिला भांगिया.
My humble obeisances.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Prabhuji.
Thus reviewed, he, Lord, would go in an anger to break all the pots within it.
Yeah, I think it should be the Lord. Yeah. Thus rebuked by his mother, the Lord would go in anger. So when his mother would chastise him, why you're fighting with them? Why you're stealing from others' homes? Why you're going to others' homes? Don't you have anything in your house? You have everything. What is it that's lacking in your own home that you have to go to others' homes? Like that. When she would rebuke him, what would little, small Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what would he do? He would go in anger to his room, to a room. Yeah, he goes in anger to one of the rooms and he would break all the pots within it out of anger. Tabe sachi kole kori कराइला संतोष लज्जित होइला प्रभु जानी निज दोष. Who is next? One second. Achinta Dev Prabhu, right? Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yes,
Please
Prabhu.
accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to the assembled devotees.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Prabhuji. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Translation. Then Sachimata would take her son on her lap and pacify him, and the Lord would be very much ashamed, admitting his faults. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. This is something different that Sachimata does, which we may not be doing. So, first of all, he went and stole. So, what did Sachimata do? He stole, so the boys came and complained, so Sachimata chastised him. Why you did that? And then, out of anger, he went and he broke all pots. So what did Sachimata do? She went and she started pacifying him. She picked him up and put him in her lap. Not that, why you broke all the pots now? Not like that. So that's the difference. And then what was the effect? He felt very embarrassed, ashamed of his activities. Okay. There's a purport there. So either Aditilata Mataji or Arunita can read.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
There is a nice description of the faults of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his childhood in the Caitanya Bhagavat, Adi Khanda, chapter 3, where it is said that as a child, the Lord used to steal all kinds of eatables from the houses of neighboring friends. In some houses, he would steal milk and drink it, and in others, he would steal and eat prepared rice. Sometimes he would break cooking pots. If there is nothing to eat, but there were small babies, the Lord would tease the babies and make them cry. Sometimes a neighbor would complain to Sachimata, my child is very small, but your child puts water in his ears and makes him cry.
Yeah. So when he does mischief, also nobody can compete with him. So he would go and he would eat whatever eatables he would find. He would eat rice or drink up milk or whatever there is, right? And if there's nothing there, then he would get angry why they didn't keep anything. And he would go and make little babies cry, like pinch them or put some water in their ears, like that. कभू मृदु हस्ते कोयला माता के ताड़ना माता के मूर्छिता देखी कोरये क्रंदना. Runita?
She is not available today, Mataji.
She is not there. Chatterjee Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji, Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Once the child Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chastised his mother with his soft hand, and his mother pretended to faint. Seeing this, the Lord began to cry.
So this must be like really small, like I think like a toddler, maybe like 2 years or something, or little less probably. When so he once with his soft hand he just chastised his mother, like like little babies sometimes they hit. So he chastised his mother like that. He hit his mother, and as soon as he hit his mother, Sachi pretended to faint, right? Like she just fell down. And then he got scared and he started crying. Yeah, Priyanka Mataji, you can read. Nari gana kohe nari kela deho ani tabe susta
Hare
hoibe
Krishna
na
Mataji.
tomara janani. Hare Krishna Mataji. Go ahead, Mataji.
Oh. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, can you hear me? Hare Krishna.
Yeah, okay. Screen was my internet is, I think, getting bad. Okay, yeah. Translation, right, Mataji?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. The neighboring ladies told him, "Dear child, please bring a coconut from somewhere, and then your mother will be cured."
Yeah. So the little baby hit the mother and she pretended to faint. And then the other ladies, they said, you go bring a coconut, then your mother will be cured. Now she's, she became sick. So if you give her, you bring some coconut from little baby, they're saying, go bring a coconut from somewhere, then she will be cured. So we'll start again. So Isha, Bahire बाहिरे जाया आनी लेना दुई नारी केला देखिया अपूर्व हईल विस्मित सकला.
He then went outside the house and immediately brought 2 coconuts. All the ladies were astonished to see such wonderful activities.
So when they told him that if you bring a coconut she'll be okay, he just walked outside the house and came back with 2 coconuts. Where did the little child get 2 coconuts from? They were all astonished. Krishnashish. कभु शिशु संगे स्नान कोरिला गंगाते कन्या गणा आइला ताहा देवता पूजिते.
Sometimes the Lord would go with other children to bathe in the Ganges, and the neighboring girls would also come there to worship various demigods.
So now we can understand he's even older, right? He's older now, probably even going to school at this time. So he would go to bathe in the Ganges with other children. That was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime. He would play, he would spend several hours playing in the Ganges water every day. So the Lord would go with other children to bathe in the Ganges, and other small girls also would come there to worship various demigods. So they would bring all their puja paraphernalia to worship Lord Shiva, or sometimes Lord Vishnu or Durga Devi, like that. Purport. Madhava.
According to the Vedic system, when small girls, 10 or 12 years old, would go to the bank of the Ganges to take their bath. They would especially worship Lord Shiva with prayers to get good husbands in the future. They especially wanted to get a husband like Lord Shiva because Lord Shiva is very peaceful and at the same time most powerful. Finally, therefore, small girls in Hindu families would worship Lord Shiva, especially in the month of Vaisakha, April to May. To take a bath in the Ganges is a great pleasure for everyone, not only for adults, but for children also.
Yes, and especially in Mayapur. Even more, multiply that several times. So this is happening there in Navadvip at the time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So you can imagine how much more pleasure one would derive. So they would all go, girls would go there to perform their puja, and they would especially worship Lord Shiva to get a good husband. They wanted a husband like Lord Shiva. Who is Lord Shiva? He is Ishvara Tattva. Yes. So Lord Shiva, very powerful, but at the same time very sober. So they wanted someone like Lord Shiva, very peaceful, but at the same time, very powerful. So this is a practice in Hindu families, Srila Prabhupada is saying. During the months of Vaishakha, they would take bath in the Ganges. Ganga snana kori puja karite lagila, Kanya gana madhya prabhu asiya bosila. Rasapriya.
When the girls engaged in worshipping the different demigods after entering the Ganges, the young lord would come there and sit down among them.
So first the girls would go and take bath in the Ganga. And after taking bath, now they would sit on the shore with, they'll set up their little altar, they'll start worshipping. And all the girls would be sitting there for worship. Then young Nimai, little Nimai would come and sit down among them, among the girls. He would come and sit down there. Kanyare kohe ama puja, Kanyare kohe ama puja ami diba vara, Ganga Durga Dasi Mora Mahesha Kinkara. Translation. Kalpesh Prabhu.
Girls, they worship me, and I shall give you good husbands or good benedictions. This and Goddess Durga are my maid servants. What to speak of other demigods? Even Lord Shiva is my servant.
So the girls are worshipping Lord Shiva as their deity, you can imagine, and they're worshipping Durga Devi. And so Nimai, small child, they don't know he's the Supreme Lord. He comes there and he says to the girls, you should worship me. That means whatever paraphernalia you got, you use all that to worship me. Give me all, whatever bhoga you brought, you feed it to me. And then I will give you good husbands or good benedictions. Why you're worshipping these demigods? To get a good husband. I will give you a good husband. Give all those offerings to me and you worship me. I will give you good benedictions. What will you get by worshipping Lord Shiva and Durga Devi? I am the master. They are my servants. The Ganges, Goddess Durga, they are my maid servants. Even Lord Shiva is my servant. Then what to speak of all other demigods? Lord Shiva, who is Ishwar Tattva, he is my servant. Then what to speak of all other demigods? Like that. Purport. Priyanka Mataji, you can read the first paragraph.
There is a misconception about the Hindu religion among people who profess other religions, such as Christians and Muslims, who say that in Hindu religion there are many gods. Actually, that is not a fact. God is one, but there are many other powerful living entities who are in charge of different departments of administration. They are called demigods. All the demigods are servants who carry out the orders of the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu disclosed this fact in his childhood. Out of ignorance, sometimes people worship the demigods to receive some particular boon. But actually, one who becomes a devotee and worshipper of the Supreme Personality of Godhead does not need to go to the demigods for any benediction because he obtains everything by the grace of the Supreme Lord. The Bhagavad Gita 7:20-28 therefore condemns such demigod worship. Kamas taistair krite jnanaha prapadante annadevataha tam tam niyamam asthaya prakriti niyatah swaya. Only persons whose intelligence is lost and who are mad with lusty desires worship the demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own natures.
Yes. So by now all of you are familiar with the, even amongst demigod worshippers. So who are we talking about here? Demigod worshippers means we are talking about karmis. That means karmis means what is their consciousness? Their consciousness is this particular demigod is the supreme and this demigod will fulfill all my desires. He or she is my Lord and this person will, that particular living entity, that demigod will fulfill all my desires. Who goes to such demigods? Who worships such demigods? This is Krishna's opinion. One who has lusty desires, and because of lusty desires whose intelligence is lost, such people worship demigods to get some material results. And they follow strictly the rules and regulations of worshipping that particular demigod. And according to their own natures, like this morning we were discussing, why somebody is worshipping that demigod, like Purva Pakshi had asked, right? That if worshipping demigods does not give one liberation, then why that demigod worship is even mentioned in the scriptures? Because people who are in a particular mode, like goodness, passion, and ignorance, those who are in the mode of passion, they only have a taste for worshipping that type of worship. Worship is also in these three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. Those people who are in the mode of passion, they only have a taste for worship in the mode of passion. So the scriptures, Vedas, they give an opportunity to everyone. They want, it's Vedas are all inclusive. So there is room for even those in the mode of passion, those in the mode of ignorance, like that. So that is why. So here the people that go to the demigods are karmis. Yeah, these are karmis. So, this important point Srila Prabhupada is bringing up. Often you hear this, right? Oh, Hindu religion means you have so many gods. You don't know who is God and this and that. So what is the answer when you're challenged like that? The answer is no, we don't have many gods. God is one. Just like it's very easy to understand. When there is a king, the king has many servants. He has ministers. He has, different departments. And they are carried out by different people. What does the king do? He's just sitting there and he's enjoying. But because he's there, everyone else is doing their work properly. If the king is not there, will everyone work like that? No. So similarly, the Supreme Lord is one. He's like the king. And all these other demigods are his servants. They carry out various duties in this universe. They are smaller gods. They are demigods. They are not God. So that's the answer. It's not that there are many gods. God is one. Next. So, Achintadev Prabhu, you can read the next.
Mataji, from where?
The Yesham Twantagatam. I'll just read that. Yesham Twantagatam Papam Jananam Punya Karmanam Te Dvandva Moha Nirmukta Bhajante Mam Dridhavrataha.
Thank you, Mataji. But persons who are free from all sinful activities and the duality of delusion engage themselves in the worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead with determination. Only the less intelligent worship the demigods for their various purposes. The most intelligent worship only the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Sometimes we, the members of the Krishna conscious movement, are accused of not approving of the worship of demigods. But how can we approve of this when it is condemned by Lord Chaitanya and Lord Krishna? How can we allow people to become foolish and Hrita Jnana, bereft of intelligence? Our propaganda is simply meant to enable intelligent people to understand the distinction between matter and spirit and understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the whole Supreme Identity. That is our mission. How could we mislead people into worshipping so-called gods in material bodies within this material world? Our position of not allowing worship of the many hundreds of demigods was confirmed by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu even in his childhood. Srila Narottam Das Thakur had sung in this connection.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you. So, Yesham Twantagatam Papam Jananam Punya Karmanam. Who worships the Supreme Lord? You will find, just if you look around, worshippers of demigods versus worshippers of the Supreme Lord. You'll find many, many worshippers of demigods. But somebody who is directly worshipping the Supreme Lord, not so many. because there is some qualification required there. Yesham tvantagatam papam jananam punyakarmanam te dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante mam dridavratah. Somebody who is done with all types of sinful activities and who has done enough pious activities. Here, what is pious activities? Pious activities means he has some bhakti sukriti. Bhakti sukriti. So somebody who has that, such a person will then get the association of a devotee, and then he will enter into devotional service, and then he will perform devotional service with determination. Otherwise, it's not a common thing. Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhaye. Yatataamapi siddhanam kaschin mam vetti tatvatah. To know the Supreme Lord is not an easy thing, or it's not commonly seen. It's a very rare. It's not common. So demigods you'll find many, because in this material world everyone wants sense gratification. So many people will be there. So then people, you may have heard also, sometimes devotees say, oh, can we also worship on our altar? You know, we were worshipping in our family for many years, generations, we were worshipping demigods, so we will also keep that demigod on the altar. What is Srila Prabhupada saying? Sometimes we, the members of the Krishna consciousness movement, are accused of not approving. We don't approve of the worship of demigods. We don't approve. But does that mean that we are inimical, or we are envious of demigods? No. Or we disrespect demigods? No. We understand that where the Lord is there, everyone is there. All the demigods are there, all relatives are there, all ancestors are there, everyone is there. If you water the root of the tree, the whole tree is satisfied. But somebody who does not have that Shraddha yet may feel, oh, the demigod will become upset because I was worshipping that demigod all these years now if I stop. But actually, if somebody asks, there's no need, right? Srila Prabhupada is saying here, how can we approve of this when it is condemned by Lord Chaitanya and Lord Krishna? Krishna is saying, right? Kamais taistair hitagyana prapadyante devata. So Krishna is condemning, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is condemning. The girls are worshipping Durga Devi and Lord Shiva, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, they are my maid servants, they are my servants. No need to worship them, you worship me, I'll give you whatever you want. That means Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is condemning, Krishna is condemning. So therefore Srila Prabhupada is saying, in our ISKCON movement, we also don't approve of worshipping the demigods. Okay. How can we allow? If Mahaprabhu and Krishna are not allowing, then how we can allow? And how we can allow them to become Hritagyana, right? Less intelligent, foolish. How we can allow that? Why? Krishna Varnam Trisha Krishnam Sangopangastra Parshadam Yagyai Sankirtana Prayai Yajantihi Sumedhasaha. Those who are exceptionally intelligent, they worship Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. So if you have become exceptionally intelligent to worship Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, how we can allow you to become less intelligent again and go and worship demigods? That is Srila Prabhupada's point. So our propaganda is simply meant to enable intelligent people to understand the distinction between matter and spirit. Okay. Yeah, our position of not allowing worship of the many hundreds of demigods. Huh?
Yes, we did not read. I'm supposed
Yes,
to read.
yes, Mataji. Yes, Mataji. Okay.
Shall I read?
Yeah. I thought Prabhuji didn't read that, but okay, go ahead. I thought Prabhuji read that part.
No, this part he didn't read.
Okay.
Our position of not allowing worship of the many hundreds of demigods are confirmed by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his childhood. Srila Narottam Das Thakur has sung in this connection, Anya Devashraya Nai Tomare Kahinu Bhai, Ei Bhakti Parama Karan. To become a staunch, pure devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead without deviation, Ananya Bhak, one should not divert his attention to the worship of the demigods. Such control is a symptom of pure devotional service.
That is the point. That is the point. It's not that we are envious of demigods, but the point is that we want the high. Srila Prabhupada is offering us the highest. He's teaching us about pure unalloyed devotional service, Ananya Bhakti. Ananya, Anya means others. Ananya means no one else. Ekeha Kurunandana, right? Or there's one-pointed intelligence, one-pointed focus, only Krishna, nobody else. This is Ananya Bhakti. That is why we don't allow any other worship.
Can Arunita read, Mataji?
Yes. To become a staunch, pure devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, without deviation, one should not divert his attention to the worship of the demigods. Such control is a symptom of pure devotional service. Yes. Apani chandana pari parena phula mala podi podena phula mala naivedya kadiya khana sandesha chalak kala. Yes, Arunita.
Without the garland of the
Without the permission.
without the permission of the girls, the Lord would take the sandalwood plant and spear it on his own body, put the flowers garlands on his neck, and snatch and eat all the offerings of sweet rice and bananas.
Yeah. So without the, so he would say, you should offer everything to me. So the girls would not give. No. He's a child, right? He's just playing, but this is meant for the deity. So they wouldn't give. So the Lord would take the sandalwood pulp without their permission, forcibly. He would just take. So on their plate, there would be sandalwood pulp and flowers and all that. He would take the sandalwood pulp and smear it on his body, put the flower garlands around his neck, snatch and eat all the offerings of sweetmeats, rice, and bananas forcibly. How much mercy! Chatterjee Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Purport. According to the system of worship, when something is offered to deities outside one's home, it is generally not cooked food, but raw rice, bananas, and sweetmeats. Out of his causeless mercy, the Lord would snatch the offerings from the girls and eat them, admonishing the girls not to worship the demigods but to worship him. The worship of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is recommended in Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishna Varnam Tisha Krishnam Sango Bangastra Pashadam Jagnahi Sankirtana Prayari Jajanti Hi Shumedhasha. One should worship this Supreme Personality of Godhead who appears in this age of Kali with his associates as the Panchatattva. The Lord himself and his associates, Nityananda Prabhu, Sri Advaita Prabhu, Sri Gadadhar Prabhu, and Srivas Thakura. In this age, an intelligent person worships the Panchatattva by the method of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra and, if possible, distributing prasadam. Our Krishna consciousness movement is introduced this bona fide method of worship in the Western world. Its members are going from village to village and town to town with deities of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, teaching people how to worship the Lord by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, offering prasadam and distributing prasadam to the people in general.
Hare Krishna. So the Lord would snatch and eat the offerings of the girls, it is said. So this is the Lord's way of admonishing. Admonishing is correcting, like a parent would correct. Don't do this, like that. So he's correcting the girls. Don't worship the demigods, just worship me. And if you remember, I told you about Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. There, Ashnami means he eats. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says. Ashnami means not that he simply accepts, he actually eats it. But there are so many conditions Krishna puts there. When will he eat it? when it is offered by a devotee of the Lord, when it is offered with devotion. It has to be by a devotee. Devotee means either he is a Pradhani Bhuta Bhakta or Ananya Bhakta. He is primarily a devotee of the Lord. When such a devotee is offering and also offering with love, then the Lord says he eats. And here in the girl's case, they don't even want to give him. They want to offer it to the demigods. But the Lord forcibly snatches it and he eats it. How much mercy the Lord is showing. So we will stop there. Thank you all so much. I will see you all again tomorrow. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.